Now push it. Push it good.
From the first ladies of hip-hop to a former pop princess from Baldwin.
And I'm proud to be a Long Islander that really kicked around the world. And I thank you.
The Long Island Music Hall of Fame inductions brought out famous and familiar faces to the Paramount in Huntington.
There's an incredible amount, a plethora of incredible artists that have come out of here. We're obviously close to New York, and yet we have a dream.
We do. Do you think it's true what they say that there's something in the water out here?
I definitely phrased it. There must be.
Yeah. Salt and Pepa's here! Woo! And you have your award! Congratulations! You guys are Grammy winners. What does having one of these and being inducted into the Long Island Music Hall of Fame mean to you?
It always feels great. You know, like I was saying up there, it's like when you've been in the business so long and then you still get called in because they still recognize your worth in the business and they like your name pops up like, oh, we got to get Salt and Peppa. You know, it's a great feeling. It's amazing.
Dayne, Long Island legend. Welcome. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you.
And you're doing some wonderful things now. I hear you everywhere.
You know, after 25 years, you stand around long enough, you get to sit down. Yeah, no, I'm everywhere. I'm working on a lot of new music, and it's an interesting year, 25 years, starting to get inducted and recognized and icon awards. It's bizarre. It's nuts. It's crazy.
Because you kind of feel like you're probably just beginning all anew, right? Don't you? Like you're like, wait, how am I getting inducted?
Well, the way technology's worked, yeah, it is definitely new. Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, there was a lot of paparazzi out there. It looked like it was like 50 or 60 people. So thank you for coming back here and talking to us.
Of course. No, it's
crazy.
Great. Yeah.
So tell us how you feel about being from Long Island and what this means to you.
Well, when they reached out to us, I wasn't really aware of it, but at the same time, because I'm living in Los Angeles now, but I have to say, like, when you really look at the list of incredible talent that's come from here and that has already been recognized through Long Island, the musicians here are just, I say it's something in the water, actually. I'm always very impressed. I mean, I think Lou Reed grew up around the corner from me. There's just such a Patty Benatar, Joan. Right? I mean, I used to try to rehearse in a studio that I knew Joan Jett was working in. I mean, in the Stray Cats and Brian and really, and of course the Billies and Mariah now. But I'm just saying, it's amazing.
Feel good, right?
Yeah.
Did you have trouble sleeping last night? Did you have the butterflies in your stomach at all?
No, last night I was on a plane from LA. I slept like a baby. Anyway. No, I slept like not a baby.
And I have one other question. Yeah. And when you were coming up, who was the person that was most influential to you that tapped you on the shoulder and said, you know what, you have talent, I know you're going to make it?
Well, my parents were incredibly supportive, but I kind of was a train that was just moving. But I would have to say, once I started going to school, it was my... there was a couple of teachers that were very influential, and they were like my music teachers, like the chorus teachers, Mr. Dayne and Miss Kasalski. They were very, they saw in me what I knew I wanted and had, and they just really were like, she's got it. Like, you got it. You just go. Like, they loved the fire, you know?
And I think that validation, especially when we're young, can really set us on the course for amazing things. So congratulations.
Well, yeah, it made me really, really, really stay on target.
Congratulations again. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
With us now is Zebra. Congratulations. How are you guys?
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So now tell us a little bit about your experience and how it felt when you got the information, the news.
We were excited. I mean, I was really excited. Long Island is a huge part of our career, and a lot of what we did started here. The reason we got our record deal was, I think, just from being here, so we were really flattered that we could be a part of this. And
now, was getting a record deal surreal? I mean, back then it wasn't as easy as it is now. You know, with technology, it seems like more connections are easier to make. But now, back then it was a little harder. Do you agree?
I gotta think maybe then it was harder because then you had to go put a whole crowd together in front of you. You had to get a couple thousand people looking at you. You had to deal with either New York or L.A. Now you can do it from It was a little harder back then.
Yeah, I can get you a record deal, guy.
Yeah.
I have a label. Randy.com.
Yeah, the music industry has changed, certainly. And what are you experiencing tonight? Are you seeing old friends, things like that? I heard you flew Bob Buckman in, or maybe he flew in to see you guys.
Yeah, well, we asked Bob if he would present for us, and he accepted. We were really happy to have him here. He was such a big part of our lives and our careers. He broke the record here on Long Island, and we're really excited about having him here doing a presentation. So we're really over the top excited about being here and being part of the Long Island Music Hall of Fame.
And being a famous musician, it's kind of like being a famous ball player or a famous movie actor. I mean, those are the three kinds of fame. When you were little, at what age did you know that this was going to be your path? Did you have a moment where somebody tapped you kind of mystically on the shoulder and you said, oh my gosh, I've got the talent to do it?
No, nobody tapped me on the shoulder, but I can tell you this, that I knew I wanted to do it when I saw the Beatles. My parents took me to see them when I was 9 years old, and I looked and I said, if they can make a living doing this, I'd like to do it. It was awesome. For a 9-year-old, it was a pretty impressive experience. So,
well, congratulations on making your dream come true. And how about you? Do you remember a moment of inspiration for you?
Well, drums were basically the only thing I really did halfway decent. I couldn't do anything else, so I just kind of followed that path. But I wound up with these guys at a young age, and we just kept going. It was the right time. We just kind of flowed into a record deal, and that's what we've been doing. So it's been a good career.
And how about the moment for you when were you playing out one night and all of a sudden you just kind of like felt that magic and you knew that you weren't going to do anything else ever in your life?
No, it was very similar to Randy's experience, only I only got to see the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, but it made me pick up a tennis racket and play that until I could find a guitar.
There you go. I like it. Well, there you've had Zebra right here on Live It Up. Stay tuned for more.
The devil finished. Johnny said, you're a pretty good old son, but you just flop it in that chair right there. I'm going to show you how this stuff's done. Round and run, boys, run. Devils in the house and the rising sun. Shooting in the red path.
With us now on Live It Up is Mr. Charlie Daniels. Welcome. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. I'm wonderful. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
And we're celebrating the Long Island Music Hall of Fame.
We are the Long Island. Is how you say that?
Well, I'm from St. Louis, so I don't say it as funny as the Long Islanders do.
We got to get some
Long Island.
Long Island. Yeah, we are. We're celebrating the. I came up to induct my friend Ronald Lexenberg, who has been an incredible influence in my career. He believed in me at a time when I really needed believing in, and led to my biggest records I ever had. So I want to come up and pay homage to him tonight.
Now, how did you originally meet? Were you like playing out in a gig or something and he came up and thought you were talented?
Well, no, we had one fairly successful album, and we had decided to change labels and run. And a bunch of folks from CBS at the time, it's Sony now, but they came out to Houston to see us play and offer us a record deal. And that's where I met him, and I was so impressed with him that I couldn't imagine working with anybody else. And I have always treasured the years that we had together.
That's fabulous. Now, the instrument that you're carrying tonight, tell us a little bit about that. How long has that been with you, and does she have a name?
Yeah, it's called fiddle. Okay. This is number one. I've carried 3 fiddles on the road. This is number 1, number 2, and number 3. Okay. This is my favorite one. It's just it's not a fine instrument by any stretch of the imagination, because we drill it out. We put pickups inside of it. We do all kinds of things to it. It runs a regular violin player would not let you touch his violin to do that to it. So it's not a really expensive violin, but it works for me. But it's just an instrument, just a fiddle.
Now, when you first started playing music, when did you know that you might have the ability to make this your career? Was there a moment that you believed in yourself?
I had the desire from the first time I learned to play a few chords on the guitar, but about when I was probably about 18, 19, about 19, when the time I came along down in North Carolina, there was no place to play. I mean, there was they did not have open bars, where most musicians started is in clubs, and there was no clubs. Basically, it was a few weekend places.
That feedback wasn't us.
but there was no place to really go and show your talent, and I had to leave town to do that and go up to Washington, D.C. area and start out up there when I was very young, 1958. But I thought after I learned that I could entertain people, I thought I could make a living there, because that's what it's all about. You got to learn to entertain people.
Well, speaking of entertaining, when I was growing up in St. Louis, Missouri, on the bus, we would go cheerleading and watching football games, and I sang "Your Devil Went Down to Georgia" almost every time before the game on the school bus.
Well, you got a good memory if you remember all those words.
Oh, I almost got them all down. But thank you so much. I really appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you very much.
And